we are. I think we're live already. We're live already. It takes a moment to load so I can actually see it happening in the Facebook group. Yes, we are here. First of all, everybody, a massive apology for not being here at 10 a.m. We really got confused with the time zone. So we are here now. And we're going to do the interview. We're going to do the masterclass. Gwen is going to tell us all about her experience teaching yoga teacher trainings and helping other yoga teachers create their own business. For those that don't know Gwen, you may have seen her on our Instagram feed before, because Gwen and I have been collaborating for, I think, the last 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
For a very long time. And I really am a big fan of what you're doing. I think your work is really valuable, super useful for especially teachers that come out of training and don't really know yet where to go from there. But for those that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and who you're doing it for?
Yes. So my name is Gwen. I'm a yoga teacher trainer in Nusa Lembongan, which is a small island at the south of Bali, where I am since 8 years. And so yeah, I mainly lead teacher trainings, but also mentor yoga teachers for the journey that is after becoming a yoga teacher, because we all know that it's not always very smooth and we don't always know what to do. So that's mainly what I do for the online part once everyone leave Bali, or for new people that I meet online.
Exactly. And what you do really is amazing, because what I see is that it's a really well-rounded experience. They do their yoga teaching training with you, and then they also have the opportunity to actually make that a sustainable career or make a living of doing that. So the chat, or the topic of today, is the missing piece in your yoga teacher training. And we could speak about many different things, because all training are different, and every teacher trainer focuses or gives more preference to specific things. But for you, what is this missing piece?
And you're right, it's so different for a lot of training, but I will say it's often confidence in the teaching. That doesn't mean that the yoga teacher training was not teaching you how to sequence, or sometimes they don't, but it's just like there are so many things to think about. Just teaching, but also then if you want to build your own business, that's even something more on top of that. So the missing piece is often simply confidence.
Exactly. And what do you think then is a way to actually build on this confidence? Because I see that many teacher training, they last maybe 4 weeks or 6 weeks, sometimes a few months. But when you go to a location like yours, for example, it's often for a shorter duration. How do you build on this confidence?
Yeah, and it's funny because our teacher trainings are 24 days. So 24 days, 22 days, so they're short. And at the moment we're doing one that is half online and half in person. So people have done the theory online and they just come for 12 days doing the practical. And so they already know everything. And so they just practice and learn how to teach, which is honestly wonderful. But yeah, it is a short time. Yeah, whatever we will do, it is a short time, and it's impossible to learn everything in those times. So I think the best is to not expect to learn everything in this time.
Exactly. That's true. And I think you grow into your teaching personality. You grow into the way that you express yourself, the way that you cue, what you actually want to share with your students, your focus of the classes. But what then really does it take to build this confidence? Because not expecting it to come straight away is one thing, but what are some tools that we can actually build on that?
To me, what I see works the best when in the training to get that faster is to learn anatomy. I know it might sound a little bit weird or annoying if you don't like to learn anatomy as a yoga teacher, but I think it's so important to actually learn how to sequence a smart sequence, and then you will be more confident on actually why people are doing some poses. You will be more confident that your sequence makes sense. You will be more confident that they feel prepared, that you're really supporting your students and that you can understand their differences when you observe their body in class, rather than being like, wow, I can see that they're doing something weird, but I have no idea why. Anatomy.
Anatomy. And you love anatomy, don't you? You're really big.
I do love anatomy. I do teach anatomy, obviously, for the 200 and the 300 hour that we have, but also for other yoga teacher training in Bali. Sometimes I'm hired just as a consultant to just teach the anatomy.
Amazing. I think it's such a skill to have. It's something that never came naturally to me, but I agree with you that having that knowledge will make you feel confident and also more prepared to teach different types of people and be able to really adjust your classes to who you're teaching, to read the room and react to what you're seeing when you're in it. Now, what I really like about what you're saying just now, and I didn't know this before, is that people can actually do the training online, but that they come to Bali afterwards to get that teaching practice. For me, this is one of the biggest things as well to gain confidence, because it's so important that we practice what we are going to teach ourselves to really feel what it feels like in our body, but also to be surrounded by other people that are going through that same learning journey and same process of gaining those skills, to learn from each other, receive feedback, and actually start to embody what you're going to teach. So teaching practice, I would add to that, as well as anatomy. So
yeah. And I think like even because here like the main thing is being international and maybe not speaking English, and I'm French, so I know the problem of the words when we teach. And I think knowing anatomy makes everything a little bit more simple. And when we teach, rather than trying to say a lot of complicated sentences, we can just say, Ina, raise your arms, or, starting to be a little bit more oriented towards the action that we want our students to do. Sometimes just knowing the anatomy and the movement helps for that.
Absolutely. I think this speaks to cueing, right? The way that you form your sentences. What tips do you have on that?
On cueing? Yeah, basic. Inhale, action, then you are in the pose, and then you can do more cues. But I think, and even right now we are so doing one training, and that's what I see every single time, is more this limitation of the words, what to say, and it's really only by practicing and so either teaching yourself or teaching your friends or starting to teach classes, that it will start working. Like you will see better what you have to say for people to do an action that you want them to do.
Exactly. I am very passionate about this. I'm really passionate about forming cues and using different words, finding synonyms and alternatives. And I really love working with cueing formulas. So we've got cueing formulas for really simple instructional cues, but also metaphors and support cues, different types of support cues. I think having knowledge of that is really, really useful as well to gain confidence. You said you were French, and I know all of this, I know your story, but just for the people that are here, you started teaching yoga in English, but when you teach in French, you notice a difference as well. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so I actually very rarely teach in French. And it's mainly if I have a private for people that maybe are not speaking English coming here in Nusa Lembongan, that maybe I will do it in French. So it's very difficult actually to me, because I have learned the vocabulary in English and I don't take classes in French. I also take classes in English. So it would be very difficult to me because of this vocabulary. I think that's why it's so great what you offer, to have vocabularies and like learning how to build up the cues or the metaphors, like all of these things that it's only vocabulary and taking the habits to use them.
Exactly. Because what you're saying really means that even though it's your first language in your case, and for many people here, even if you are very fluent in that language on a daily basis, being able to speak about whatever doesn't actually mean that you can also confidently teach in that language. And like you said, vocabulary is one thing, knowing how to actually express yourself in a way that you would in another language. Those are things that you can learn, definitely. Those are things that you can learn through practice, loads of practice, and a little bit of language studies. So this is all about cueing, gaining confidence in your actual teaching. What are all the missing pieces that you see?
So I think like once everyone left the teacher training, usually you have either you start teaching and then that will help build your confidence, or the more you wait, the harder it is going to be when you actually start. So I would say, first of all, try to start the sooner the better. And then it will be to maybe know what to do. So to find a job either in a studio. And then I think a lot of students will say that the missing piece is to know how to find a job or grow their own business.
Yeah.
Honestly, there was almost no time for that. Like, I think even myself being a business strategist, I think we do 2 to 4 hours of business in 5 hours, I think it is, of business in the training. So it is short, like you can't learn everything about how to find a job and how the world of yoga works to all the little systems. So I will say like the second step after you leave is to build up a little bit of a community for you, a community of students, but also a community of teachers. So you can start connecting with others and see what they do. And you can start identifying with different journey, because maybe you want to teach online, but maybe you want to teach in person. Maybe you want to teach retreats. Maybe you want to teach yoga teacher trainings later. Like, there are so many different ways of growing a yoga career, especially if you want it to be international. And if you want it to be international, then you need an online community, because if people are going to come from everywhere, online or in person, meaning online, you have your community and maybe they come to your membership or your online course, but you can have an online community for people that come to your retreat once a year. So I think having an online community is really something that might be missing on how to do that, how to start building up your own community, because it's not just having an Instagram account, unfortunately. So I will say this is the second step after the TT.
Exactly. Really important. I like what you said about not only having a community of your own students, but also other yoga teachers, because I think many teachers are so afraid of the competition that they have of other yoga teachers, just simply being a yoga teacher. And actually, these are the people that you need the most, because between you can recommend each other, you can help each other grow, you can collaborate like we're doing right now. And it really helps you to expand your opportunities in the international world.
Yeah. Oh my God. Competition, like for yoga teachers, is something that it's a concept that I really have a hard time to understand, I think. So I have a hard time to understand when yoga teachers tell me there are so much competition out there, all the yoga teachers around me, because we all yoga teachers here, we are all unique in what you teach, also the vibe in your class, the music you play, the way you sequence classes, like it's always different, and there is no competition. Like there is no competition. There was definitely space for everyone. So connect with other teachers.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I always say is that there is a teacher for everyone and there are students for everyone. And we also need to remember that you're not going to every single teacher's class in the world. You also have people that you connect with or feel more connected with than others. So inspiration and collaboration over competition, and building your community, building community of students and of teachers, especially online, if your goal is to go international. What are other missing pieces? Because I think you've got more.
Yeah, well, I think it depends then after what is your journey. So I think it's why it's important to know what you want. And again, it's very personal. Like, are you someone that likes to project themselves in 10 years and you want to have a plan on 10 years, and then you're like, okay, in 10 years I'm going to teach teacher trainings, or I will run retreats, or I will have an online membership with 100 people in it? Or you more like me and it's more 1 year at a time, and then you will be different on how you plan everything. I think what is important is to start then, once you build up your community of students, but also of teachers, then to start saying, what do I want to offer? Maybe I want to actually be complementary to all the teachers that are out there. So what can I offer that is something I truly love? I love talking about it. I love teaching it. And I don't see it much around. That's why, like, you're also happy to connect with other teachers too, rather than being a competition. And they will feel like it, and you will feel like it, to offer maybe something different. And then once you decide what you would like to offer, to see your community, what do they need? Do they need workshops on how to learn sun salutation? Do they all want to get away from UK in the winter and want to go on a yoga retreat in Bali? Or so having an idea of what your community wants and what is not so much out there. So starting to create offers, not that comes just from your dream, but that is actually something that is doable because people want that.
Exactly. So this really goes to understanding your purpose and your passions in the field of yoga, and how you can benefit, or how you can add a benefit to the communities that are already existing, or to the community that you're building along the way. Now, I see that for many people, especially coming out of teacher training, this can actually be really challenging because they haven't got much experience yet and they don't know what they are really passionate about yet. What kind of advice do you have for these people?
I think it's difficult to know. Like, I will say, to me, what worked, I know what worked for me and for just the teachers that I've supported so far, is usually, if you're not sure, to ask. Yeah. So, and you might be thinking, I ask who? Because I don't have maybe a lot of community or a lot of regular student at the moment. So simply asking the people that come in the studio where you work at, or maybe even friends that you know are doing yoga, and see what they would like. Do they would like a day retreat, or maybe would they be interested if you do a workshop where you teach back bends or inversions, something that you can teach, and then start teaching it and see, do you like it or do you not like it? So starting to test a little bit, because I think now the main advice is that I see online is like, oh, you have to find your thing, like your niche, like you would know straight away, but you might not. and that's fine. And I remember I started by teaching workshops every week in the studio here at Yoga Bliss. And then I was like, oh, this workshop worked well. And then, oh, those one I actually don't really like teaching that. And then the community asked, oh, it would be so great if you were doing retreats. Okay, let's do retreats, and then it would be so great if you could do teacher training. Let's do teacher training. So I think, to me, like, listening to my community did really work. So that's definitely something I recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think it's great for everyone just to experiment a little bit, gain some experience, and understand from there what you feel most passionate about. Because in the end, if you want to have a career that's sustainable, and sustainable not only in being able to live from it, but also feeling energized along that journey, it's not a hasty decision to make. We really want to enjoy that process, experiment with little things, and then see what works for us in the long term. So we've got lacking confidence, queuing, building community, finding or understanding what you really want to share or what you want to offer. So types of offerings as well. Can you speak about this a little bit more?
Yeah, so, and this after will depend if it's in person or online, of course. If we look at the online, just because I think like a lot of the people that I talk to that are yoga teachers at the moment want to have something on the side. I think it's because we all had so much into the security and the financial security also, and everything that happened the last 2 years, you know, that has been a little bit strange for everyone. Not saying that everyone did struggle, but some struggled, some did not, but it doesn't matter. Everything did change. And so I think it's good to have something online, even if you keep the in-person. And so your in-person offers can be also quite different than what you have online. But what you want is to start having something that serves maybe the same type of people. So people that are also in person can maybe join online, and people online can also come in person. And then once you're online, if you did already research that, you know that there is live offers and doing a live course. And that will be, let's say, a 3-month course that starts on October 1st for 3 months. And then it's the end. Or sometimes you can have an evergreen program, which is then a self-paced program that maybe you download or you have the access maybe forever, or maybe you also have a date that is finished. So this runs quite differently. So I think that's what you mean by the difference, right?
Exactly. For those that, because you mentioned a lot of different types of programs, and I can imagine for those that never heard of these things before, could you explain very simply what is an evergreen program and what are the other programs that you were speaking about?
So the evergreen program is then a program that people can enroll at any time. Yeah. So it's great if you don't want to always be what we call launching, meaning having 2 months or 3 months of preparation for an event. And then at this time, you will enroll people into your program. That is more what we tend to do for live. You can also do that for evergreen, but evergreen you will not need, because every time that someone needs your program, then they can just pay for it and access it. And there is no component of you giving a class at 4 p.m. or everything is recorded.
Exactly. And this is something that you offer too, right? How does this work for you?
Yeah, so now I think we have maybe between 12 and 15, I'm not quite sure, self-paced courses. And so therefore yoga teachers that want to, like, let's say you want to become a prenatal yoga teacher, you're not going to do a 200-hour. So we have like a 25-hour prenatal and postnatal, or 30-hour yoga anatomy, or 20-hour restorative yoga. So we have like all of these modules to have teachers develop their confidence and their skills in different things. And these are all self-paced. So that means that every month I'm selling some and I don't have to do anything about it. If someone wants the course, it's there. They just have to click to pay, and then they have access to everything, and it's forever. So that works like this. And it's great for passive income, right? Because that's exactly how it works, meaning receiving an income when you don't have to re-record a video or doing something live. And then the other thing will be more like Elevate Yoga Career, which is like my 6-month program, which is also evergreen, but which has a live component. So everyone can also opt in at any time and enroll when they feel it's their time to grow their business. And then they have access to the content forever, but they have coaching only for 6 months. So to me, it's the best solution, because I find sometimes launching quite overwhelming. And even if I still do launches, even with the evergreen program, it's not so much because then I need it, and that's what I like. So that's why in the program, that's also what I teach, like how to launch, but how to have multiple offers So people can choose if they want to see you live or they want something recorded, and have different type of pricing for that.
Exactly. And I think this is really great. It's a great business model because it really also applies to every single learning style and preference, so that they can choose whether they want to do it in their own time or actually want that one-on-one support with you live in coaching calls or your group programs, for example. Amazing. I think these are some really great insights. Are there any other things that you'd like to add to this?
Yeah, when you were just saying that, I was actually thinking that if you create a program and you hesitate between like live or evergreen, thinking the evergreen is great for the passive income, also not thinking so much about what the type will be, but what do they need? Yeah, because depending on the transformation you offer in your program, people, they might actually need your help. Recorded doesn't work for everything. Okay. So trying to not look so much for the format as what I don't want to do anything that is live, but maybe saying like, what do I need to do for them to be successful with my program, to like it and to feel they really have the result they want.
This is such a great point, and this is one of the reasons that my programs, for example, are not on evergreen, because the promise that we have, or the thing that we really help people with, is to gain practice speaking and gain practice teaching things and receive that feedback. So this live interaction with the group and with us as teachers is really important, because otherwise they can't actually practice it. So very important point, great point. I'm going to ask in the group, because I see there's a lot of you watching. Do you have any questions about this? Wow, wait, let me see all the comments. I have to go through. Why don't you have an Instagram account? I'm not sure who this comment is for. How can we build a community? I see this like an enormous job, and I'm scared about this, about competition. I perfectly agree. The idea to collaborate with other yoga teachers. This will be more interesting than fight each other. So Sarah, did you receive an answer to how to build a community? Or is there anything else that you would like to add to this, Gwen?
Do I want to add something, or what did you say?
Yeah, is there something else that you would like to add to this?
Yeah, I was actually like this week, I feel like I talked a lot about that on my Instagram. And
oh, nice. You're in
because
the
I think, yeah, my first tip is like choose just one platform, because I think like now I just start to see everyone starting to be very tired of social media, because they're on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, Pinterest, and everything. So grow a community in one place to start.
But how then do you attract new people into your community?
Well, that depends where it is, right? So you need to, like, whatever platform you take and you choose, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, buy a course. You know what? Buy a course and learn everything about how to work with YouTube, how to work with Instagram, how to work with Facebook. Yeah. To be, if you want Facebook group, I even have a course to teach you how to grow a Facebook group, because to me, it's what works the best for community, but it's not the same for everyone.
No, exactly. I think it also depends on where your people are active, the platforms that they use, and the type of things that you offer. Because some, I don't like to say niches, but some groups of people, they really want to benefit that community feeling in a Facebook group, because they can interact with each other. Where others, they're way more individual and they really like just being and scrolling down on Instagram. So it really depends on who you're working with as well.
Yeah.
And everyone, do you have questions? I see a lot of comments. They share the fears about this. Having a community is my biggest dream, but I don't know where to start. So Magdalena, I hope that you've got an answer to this now. Same for Hannah. Any questions? Put them in the chat, or in the chat, put them in the, I'm used to Zoom. Put them in the comments. Let me see, let me see. So for those that don't know where you are, where can we find you? And what are you working on at the moment?
So you can find me on Facebook. So in the Facebook group, Elevate Your Yoga Career, Marketing and Business Strategies for Yoga Teachers, where now we have over 3,000 yoga teachers, which is honestly truly awesome to see everyone motivated. On Instagram at Yoga Career with Gwen. I have to remember this one. And then what I'm working on, well, I always, all my programs, as you start to understand, are always open. So I always work with people one-on-one or in my group program. And I have paused enrollment for a month, just so a couple of months, just so I had time with all this teacher training. But it's reopening very, very soon. So stay tuned, everyone, on Instagram. I'm going to announce that soon.
Fantastic. Amazing, amazing. Going to check one last time to see if we haven't missed anything. I will say one more time this registration. It would be great to have a list of what to do step by step. Yeah, so go through the interview again and we can summarize quickly. Step 1, Gwen, what was it?
Confidence.
Yes. Step 2.
Grow your community.
Step 3.
Create offers for your community.
And step 4.
Launch them.
Launch them. Amazing. So I hope that helps, Sarah. But feel free to watch the interview again. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, sharing your expertise, being so flexible, because we messed up the time zone, but I always enjoy chatting to you, and I can't wait to continue our collaborations very soon again.
Always. Thank you so much, Annie. It was a pleasure and a privilege to be here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope to see you in about 2 hours from now, and we're going to be live with Mark Bretner to speak about how to grow and scale your business to make a bigger impact in the lives of your students. So join us for that. It's at 1 p.m. Central European time. In your email, you have received a link to a time converter. So check that out. And then later today, I'll be live again by myself to speak about the mindset of an international yoga teacher. So I hope to see you then. In the meantime, enjoy all the interviews on the platform, and I'll see you later today. Goodbye.